Many months later.
I don't give a goddamn anymore, really.
They didn't want me going out on these talk shows when episode 7 came out, right? I got a phone call. You're not on the poster. I said, fine, it's just another in a series of humiliations.
So at any point before you see it, do you think, okay, here's what I'm gonna say if I don't like it? No.
What's your favorite Star Wars character?
Rey, easy.
That's not true.
JJ, what happened to Darth Vader's grandchildren?
Oh, George. This is great. You tell me, man. You made all this shit up.
Guinea, did you know about the parentage? Like, tell me about that journey of when you found out.
No. At the beginning, there was toying with like an Obi-Wan connection, and then it really went, there were like different versions, and then it really went to that she was no one. And then it came to episode 9, and JJ pitched me the film and was like, oh yeah, Palpatine's granddaddy. And I was like, awesome. And then 2 weeks later, he was like, oh, we're not sure. So it kept changing. So then even I was filming, and I wasn't sure what the answer was going to be.
I think that this movie will easily be the best movie of this trilogy. And I think this will be one of the best Star Wars movies ever to come out.
Tomorrow.
This movie is the worst Star Wars movie, bro!
In 7, you discovered Luke obviously is a hermit on this island, that there's so much unsaid about where he's been and what he's done. I mean, they allude to things that have happened, and to a certain extent, it's not Luke's story anymore. But I think he's an important part of the overall arc of the saga, and again, there's a lot of mystery about him, even within the film. So you have to fill in your own backstory.
He is so significantly important to this next film. You have no idea.
Well, that's good to hear.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi comes out in a couple days, man, and I am so excited for it. Lucas saying that it's beautifully made tells me all I need to know about Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
3PO has been kind of absent for the last 2 movies, a bit of scenery on the mantelpiece.
I think it should hopefully show people that we did a big old journey and we explored some things.
What the hell were they thinking?
He has lines. So that's already a major difference from episode 7.
Why does John Boyega have a lightsaber?
I'm asking myself that every single day.
Cheeky question, but does that reduce the chances of a return for Poe Dameron one day?
Probably, but who knows? I need another house or something.
Who is this guy? How did the most optimistic, hopeful character in the galaxy turn into this hermit who says it's time for the Jedi to end? I read that and I said, what?
Favorite moment, Luke drinking blue milk from
Good. How Rey beat Kylo Ren.
Why is that so hard for people to get? Like, she's super strong and he's like so weak.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi comes out this week, and I get to watch it in about 2 days. I can't get here soon enough.
2 days later.
Man, it just bums me out. It's a huge bummer.
I gotta say, I don't ever remember walking out of a Star Wars movie as disappointed as I was in this one.
How Rey has the Force.
Everyone has the Force. Even Hux.
Is that true? I thought some people could have the Force and some people... I need to watch the movies again.
And I'll stand there for the longest time, and then I'll slowly turn around, slowly, and pull the hood down, and just stare at the audience.
How are Rey and Luke connected?
By a long-ass stare at the end of Force Awakens. It doesn't matter if it's good as long as it makes money. So because The Force Awakens made a lot of money,
I can't be. It's not ergo. It's good.
If Palpatine's your grandfather, who exactly is your grandmother in that scenario?
You tell me, Josh.
When the movie ended, I'm just sitting there staring at the screen, and I'm just like, what? It's so disappointing.
For Kylo Ren to be such a bad guy, it means really that Han Solo and Princess Leia had to have been terrible parents. I mean, like the Menendez brothers had better parents for him to go to those lengths. I feel like that's a hole that hasn't been explained.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's peculiar.
In the forest, when the lightsaber goes like this and flies off, I said, "Oh, what a great entrance! Ah!" Ray caught it. She hasn't even been to Dagobah for training. What's the deal?
Did your vision and Ryan's vision, did it coincide with the way that Luke ends up in this film that you thought it would all these years later?
No.
How Rey understands BB-8.
She's vastly intelligent. And
Simple.
works on the Duolingo app.
For you, your opinion, how do you feel about the film?
It's good.
It's good.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we want people to hear. So.
Nobody knew how it ended. Even when we started it, nobody knew how it ended.
It's fine.
Incredible.
It's fine.
Was Finn spelled wrong a Jedi?
Could he be a Jedi?
Because I assume every character here has like a big arc or something that they do that's just like amazing, that changes who their character started the movie as. When that moment came up in the script, or when you guys filmed it, what emotion did you feel, or what emotion did you have to tap into?
Yeah, I feel like reading that script is really emotional for a lot of different reasons.
Is it sort of like when your parents say you'll understand when you're older? Does he finally learn some of Yoda's lessons now that he's the teacher?
Well, you're assuming that I train Ray.
Exactly.
Sneaky. Do I?
Sneaky.
I know, I have to be really careful. People say, was it difficult to pick up and wield a lightsaber again? And I go, do I pick up?
Gets the lightsaber.
Right.
Tosses it over shoulder. What'd you think?
That was, can we blur this? I know we're bleeping it, but can we blur it?
Blur it?
Yeah, can you blur my finger if I do? Because that's
Sure,
exactly, to me, it felt like, that felt like the director just going like this to fans because we had waited so long for that moment.
I hate this movie.
I sold it, but I knew when I sold it, I said, I've tried to make movies where I step away, to sort of Empire and Return of the Jedi. Right. And after about a couple weeks, I knew I couldn't do that. I had to stand over the shoulder of the director, help him, whisper in his ear constantly, no, do this, do that, and be there to help guide it. And it was much harder than if I had just directed it myself.
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams, he's a good director and he's a good friend and all this sort of thing. But he's also a top director, company, his own company, and all this other stuff. And Disney, who was a little nervous, one of the issues was the first three movies had all kinds of issues. They looked at the stories and they said, we want to make something for the fans. So I said, all I wanted to do was tell a story of what happened. It started here and it went there. And it's all about generations and it's about, the issues of fathers and sons and grandfathers. And it's a family soap opera. I mean, ultimately. We call it space opera, but people don't realize it's actually a soap opera. And it's all about family problems and it's not about spaceships.
We don't have any scene, even a brief reunion at all.
If Luke didn't want to be found, why did he leave a map to where you could find him?
I want my money back. So I wanted my money back. I wanted my freaking money back.
Admiral Luna now?
Yeah.
Her flying through space
terrible.
My brother was okay with that, I guess, because like she's using the Force and she's never used the Force
I know
before.
that. I know, but Leia has never even shown. She has a connection. The only thing we know is what we know, right? Where she's had a connection to it before. She knows when somebody dies, and she can feel this sort of thing, right? She's Force sensitive, as they would say. She's on the spectrum, if that's more 2017. But Leia has never been this thing, and she was godlike. So she went from nothing to being a god.
What is General Hawk's first name?
Armitage, I know that.
Really?
Yes, somebody told me, an interviewer told me, that
They
they
may
had
have been
announced
getting
it
your
in
leg.
one of the books.
Oh, in the novelization stuff.
Surely somebody should be telling me that
I
stuff.
know.
The Force Awakens, everything that we did in the second one, and obviously how we started the third one. So hopefully that hopefully it works.
Instead of Finn and Rey coming and almost saving Han, what if it's Leia and I? You don't see. I said, keep me out of it like you want till the very end. She's trying to contact me all through the movie.
She is.
She's unsuccessful, so she goes herself, and she's about to be abducted by 2 costume guards. One guard turns to the other guard, shoots the guard, takes off his helmet, and it's me. That I did get her message. I said, number 1, it's a hell of an entrance. Number 2, it's misdirection. They think that Leia's going to get it. And then we go, we got to go get him. And we rush. And we're back on a Death Star. Very similar, okay? We rush to his aid, and we don't alter what you want to do. But if we witness Han dying, that has so much emotional resonance that will carry into the next film.
Leia gets blown into space, but the pilot of that plane is lying on a platform above bay doors that are open, and she's not flying out. And this is literally 4 minutes apart, these two scenes.
This movie didn't deserve John Williams' score.
Pacific Rim for Mom and Dad. They thought Pacific Rim was better than Star Wars.
You can't weaponize hyperspace because it changes everything in Star Wars. You would just autopilot X-Wings, put them into hyperdrive, light speed, and just crash them into things all the time.
So they decided they didn't want to use those stories. They decided they were going to go do their own thing, and so I decided, fine. But basically, I'm not going to try to... They weren't that keen to have me involved anyway, but at the same time I said, I'm not going to... If I get in there, I'm just going to cause trouble, because they're not going to do what I want them to do. So, and I don't have the control to do that anymore, and all it would do is muck everything up. So I said, okay, I will go my way, and I'll let them go their way. And it really does come down to a simple rule of life, which is when you break up with somebody, the first rule is no phone calls. The second rule, you don't go over to their house and drive by to see what they're doing. The third one is you don't show up at their coffee shop or the things what you're going to run in. You just say, no, gone, history, I'm moving forward. Because every time you do, and we all learn this from experience, every time you do something like that, you're opening the wound again. And it just makes it harder for you. You have to put it behind you, and it's a very, very, very hard thing to do. But you have to just cut it off and say, okay, end the ball game. I got to move on. And everything in your body says, don't, you can't.
Were they just so anxious to get rid of the Skywalker saga that they couldn't give it a proper finale that you would care about?
I mean, it says right in the script, forget the past, kill it if you have to. And you're doing a pretty good job.
I'm trying.
And just...
Because you wrote just such a convoluted story that the only way to connect characters was to have Rey and Kylo Ren talk while they're light years away, and then in one scene he shows up with no shirt. It's ridiculous to me.
Yeah, that was weird.
It's ridiculous to me.
It's good to force project to somewhere else in the universe without dying.
You set up Snoke as this guy.
Good twist, though.
Right?
Get
It's
rid of
not a
him.
good twist, but you killed him with no story.
I
We
know,
didn't find out anything about him.
This is a trash movie, bruh. F minus.
And Luke Skywalker saw a little tiny bit of good in Darth Vader, right?
Yes.
To the point of where he was willing to sacrifice himself to just get that little tiny bit of good out of Darth Vader. And you're telling me that, like, Luke sniffs Kylo Ren is turning to the dark side and he tries to murder him in his sleep?
And if you think you're going to go into the movie and recapture your childhood you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Well, I have to say George Lucas, because he gave me everything, and he's a wonderful person, and we all miss him. Once I saw Force Awakens for the first time at the screening he was at, and when I saw him, I gave him a hug and whispered in his ear, "It'll never be the same."
No, I hated this movie.
These are my kids. So
all those Star Wars films.
All the Star Wars films.
They were your kids.
Yeah, well, they are right. You know, I loved them. I created them. I'm very intimately involved in them, and obviously to
And
sell
you
them
sold
off.
them.
I sold them to the white slavers that take these things and.
Okay, but I mean, but having said all that, and having talked to you for the last, and known you for a while, and admired you, I mean, it must hurt you.
Well, no,
it's your family.
No,
It's
but
the last story. It's your story.
But in
It's
the end,
you.
But I knew there's 3 more stories, and I knew that was going to probably take, you know, to do it right would take about 10 years. And I said, I'm 70. I don't know whether I'll be here when I'm 80. You know, every 10 years the odds get less. And so I said, and I'm not ready to do that because I want to do these other things. So I have to make the decision on my own that it's time for me to move on.
Luke would never say that. I'm sorry. Well, in this version, see, I'm talking about the George Lucas Star Wars. This is the next generation of Star Wars. So I almost had to think of Luke as another character. Maybe he's Jake Skywalker. He's not my Luke Skywalker.
I mean, it's...
Yeah, no, I said, look, I'm fine. Then you get to the thing, which is another thing that I'd been through. Fortunately, I'm old enough to have been through all this stuff before. And that one is to say, I had to do it. And then you do end up with this thing, which is, you know, you got to live with it.
Hypothetically, one day, 10 years from now, they come back to you and they say, hey, Dicey, we would love for you to come back and reprise Rey in a new series of Star Wars films. Do you think you would do it?
I mean, the world is a crazy place right now. 10 years seems an awfully long way away. I'd say never, but to me, Rise of Skywalker was tie up with a bow.
Oh my gosh.
What would it take to get you to come back to do Finn again?
In what?
I mean, I don't know if Finn is...
You ain't gonna Disney Plus me.
If you guys had the opportunity to continue your character stories on a Disney Plus series, would you take it?
Nope.
I fucking love you. And you get $3 million an episode.
Cashing in my chips.
He's done his time in the universe, in the galaxy.
There's been no one for so long. Who are you? I'm Ray.
Not you. Not you.
Don't use any words, okay? Just facial expression.
Okay.
What was your reaction to the end of the movie? But don't use words, okay? I'm going to count you in, do it all at the same time. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, God. No. No!
It affected the entire family.
Terribly. It really has tarnished my ability to enjoy it to its fullest. I mean, you were asking earlier, are you going to come back?
Please no. Please no. Where's Ben? Where the fuck is Ben?
I don't care anymore on that level because Han Solo is gone, Luke is gone, and you just can't get the band back together the way you wanted it to be, and it shouldn't be that way. So it is what it is.
After 40 years, this is it. What are you thinking?
These two here have not.
Ray Skywalker.
Somebody's already leaving. Somebody's already bailed. Fucking hate Star Wars!
I'm not buying it. I'm not renting it. I'll probably never watch it again unless I'm at somebody else's house. And they beg me on their hands and knees to watch it with them. I'll never see it again.
We really are starting with the stories themselves, and then if some of those characters might come in to what it is we want to do or say, we'll consider it then.